This is going to be an epic podcast. This is going to be one of those podcasts that they write songs about and sing around campfires. I'm convinced of it. It's going to be that epic. You know why? I got Megan Anderson in the house. Right, Megan Anderson of MBS Highway fame. Y'all know her. She's a speaker, trainer, coach, goes all around the country, giving us great insights, helping us out with a lot of stuff. She's a good friend of mine. I'm so glad to have her here because this podcast is going to be just a little bit different. And I got to tell you, Megan Anderson, hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Happy to be here.
I cannot wait to talk to you about this. See, guys, we could normally talk about boring mortgage stuff, but we're not going to talk about that today. No, siree. No. If you're not familiar with Megan, okay, she's one of the industry icons. She's out there training, teaching, coaching for MBS Highway. Some of you have probably been lucky enough to see her in person. She does a great job. Also, she is living the van life right now. And so this just totally intrigues me. I got to know everything. I just got to get my head around it. And I got to tell you, like, somehow, Megan, I don't know what it was. I was on YouTube. Goes back a year or two ago. I saw people converting vans, and I got intrigued by it. And so now I get all this van life stuff flying through my YouTube feed all the time. So I'm just like fascinated by it. I tell you, a single younger me today, I'd be all over this. I'd be all over. It's just wildly cool. And I'm so happy that I get to talk to someone I know about it. And you're doing it right now. I don't want to mess anything up. Just why? What are you doing? Like, what's going on? What's happening? How did this come about?
Well, the dream actually started about a decade ago. It all started before I started at MBS Highway. So before MBS Highway, I was a personal trainer. And it was when meetups were really big. And I had this vision and I was also like, poor at the time. I had just graduated college, you have no money.
Yeah.
And I had this dream, this vision of living in this van, going around doing meetups and doing workouts with people all over the US.
Okay.
And that didn't happen. Instead, I got what my mom would call a big kid job. She's really proud of me. Started working at MBS Highway.
Mm-hmm.
And, the van life just kind of fell to the wayside as I got into this new life. And then a little over a year ago, like a year and a half ago, I had sold my house in Florida. I was living in Jersey and Florida at the time. Long story short, ended up ending a long-term relationship that I was in. And a bunch of things were changing in my life. Like I was really taking control of my health. I got my implants removed, which were making me toxic. And that kind of started this kind of whole philosophy of get out there and do it. Like this is life. You need to be living it. And so I started looking for about 6 to 8 months for a van. And I ended up finding this one in Texas where this girl had purchased everything to renovate it. And it didn't get renovated in time because, I don't know, something happened during COVID and the builder was kind of MIA and she was selling her house to move into a van. And that's what she was going to do in her retirement. So she needed a place. And so she ended up buying a fully converted van. So I'm like, great. So I get on a plane to Texas and I end up buying this van.
Can I ask you something real quick?
To be renovated.
Can I ask you something real quick? So we're at this point where we're having a life change, right? We're having a life change. We're having some revelations, and we're going, gosh darn it, I'm going to get back to what I always wanted to do, kind of a thing. Was this all under the radar, or did your friends and family know you were like doing this? Like, I'm going to Texas to look at this van, or were you just kind of doing this under the radar?
It was under the radar, I would say. I think naturally when you're kind of in a state where you're, kind of depressed, a little emotional. I don't know about you, but me personally, I don't like to talk to anyone, even my close friends. Like if I'm not talking to you, check in with me because it means I'm not in a good place.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
But so I end up getting on the plane to Texas, got my check, I'm ready to go. And I end up buying this van. And so I drive it from Texas to Florida and then from Florida to Wyoming. And at first, the plan was to renovate this thing with my dad. But then he started looking at YouTube videos and he's like, if something happens to you, I could never forgive myself.
Oh,
So then that presented new challenges. But I ended up finding a team of people to help me. And I got to do a lot of it myself, but it took a long time. I don't know why I thought this conversion was going to take 2-3 months.
how long did it take?
It ended up taking a year.
A year.
So
So let me get this right. So when you get to Texas, you see the van and it hadn't been converted yet, but she had all the stuff. Was it just all like packed in the van? It was like,
it was all packed in the van.
so
It
you,
was,
so the van's
yeah.
all packed with everything you need, basically, or most of the stuff you need. And that's where you pick up and take off and head back. Okay. All right. So cool. So dad says,
That
I don't
says
want to,
no.
I'm not going to do this. So you found a
No.
team, you found some peeps to help you get it put together, but it took a long time. It took over. Why did it take so long? What is it?
Well, I mean, I guess once we started kind of building it, it took probably 6 to 8 months. But
Okay.
this was also in the dead middle of winter where it gets
Ah,
really cold here.
yeah,
And, didn't have a shop big enough to put it inside. So, it takes a while. And then when you're working with multiple people, we all know working with contractors and things
sure.
like that, it takes time.
Yeah.
So but it is all finished now. I am on officially day 42
Okay.
of renovating
42.
the van.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was 42 or 44 or something, but okay. 42
Yep.
days. So you
Yep.
took off 42 days ago. So what was the date back then? What was that?
Well, technically, I took off a while ago. Anytime I travel to go speak, like next week I'll be in Kentucky, I don't count that because I'm not in the van.
Hmm.
So I'm just going for like a total of 365 days in the van. That's the
Okay.
goal.
Okay. All right. All right. So where did this journey start? What city were you? What's home base where you're like, I'm getting in the van and I'm putting it in drive and here I go. Where was
Here
that
I
at?
go. Well, that all started in Minnesota. My parents actually drove the van down. My mom and my brother were running a half marathon. I was traveling from some speaking engagement to go to another speaking engagement in Minnesota. So it all worked out perfectly. And that's where van life started. And I got to tell you, I love it. I absolutely love it because you're traveling at such a slower pace.
Hmm.
So, one thing that I really kind of got burnt out over the years is traveling to speak, right? Like you get on an airplane, you get
Well,
there, you go to six
yeah.
different happy hour cocktail
I
events, you go
hate
to
it.
three different
Yeah.
dinners, right?
Yeah.
You get on stage, then you go straight to the airport and you're gone. You don't see anything other than the inside of a hotel and some restaurants.
100% true.
And yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I really love about the van that I noticed on the first trip in Minnesota was how much more you get to connect with people,
Hmm.
you know? And at the time, people open up their office space for me. They open up their driveways for me. They open up their homes for me. And it's just incredible. I got to hang out with, you know, the people a lot
Hmm.
more than
Hmm.
just constantly being in a rush. And so that's one thing that I absolutely love about van life. Um, I am starting to get a little bit of decision fatigue, I will say, because not
Decision
only,
fatigue. What do you mean?
yes, well, just in our daily life, we have a lot of decisions. What are you
Yeah.
going to wear today? All the things with business that you have to do, yada, yada. And so when it comes to the end of the day, trying to also, where am I going to sleep tonight?
Hmm.
It's a lot of decisions that you got to make in a day, and it's a lot
Yeah.
of not knowing, and there's such a freedom in that, and it's really fun. But there's also this like, I just don't want to make any more decisions today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't sleep in the van then?
I sleep in the van. I do sleep in the van.
Yeah.
There's times where I don't sleep in the van. Like next week, I'll be in a hotel,
Yeah.
but I sleep in the
Yeah.
van.
Yeah.
Even when, like right now, I'm parked outside of my parents' house. Even when
Oh,
I'm here, I sleep in here. So yeah,
okay. Tell me
I love it.
so do you have a destination that you're going to, or
So
are you
yeah,
starting here and you want to wind up there kind of a thing?
I've been the past like 2 months. it's the best time to be in Wyoming and Montana. So
Because we're
I've
heading
been
into the
just kind
fall.
of,
Is that why the weather? Is that
yeah,
what you
I've
think?
been exploring it, kind of touching my toes in the water with van life. Right now, the cadence is kind of, I'm gone for 3 or 4 days. I come back. I, use mom's laundry room. She makes me dinner. It's fantastic. And then I
Mm.
go back out. I'm kind of like reliving college days a little bit, and it's
Ah,
fantastic.
yeah.
But the plan is, and it's coming up very soon. So I have a Boundary Waters canoe trip with my family here at the end of the month in Minnesota. So I'm going back to Minnesota with the van. But then the plan from there is to go to Canada. And I'm just
Wow.
going to go right up, and I'm just going to go all
All the
the
way
way
across.
across and end up in California.
What,
So
when do you think you'll start heading into Canada? Is that this month or is it going to be next month?
it will be early September.
It's early, okay, so early September. So you're going to head on
Yep.
up, cross the
Yep.
border, cut across Canada, and
Yep.
then you're going to duck down into, you're going to duck down into Washington and Oregon and then duck down into California.
Yeah, yeah. I think I have the NAHB event in San Diego. I think it's in October. So that's the only kind of like I just need to be there by
Oh
October.
man, you're going to be doing some driving.
I'm gonna be doing some driving.
And
Yeah.
so do you already, I'm just curious, do you already have your stops planned for this trip? Like
No,
not
no.
at all.
Mm-mm.
Do you do that or
My
you
whole
just go?
no. I just go. This
I
this
love
whole
this.
lifestyle is being free. And that's, do you want to drive today? Do you not want to drive today? And it can change in a second. Like I was very much a planner. Like whenever I would travel for work, and I still kind of do this when I travel for work, like it would be, here's my packing list. Here's the time I need to be here. Here's the time I need to be here. Here's this, here's that, here's this. That's not what this is. And I absolutely love, my soul needed this. My
Hmm.
soul needed the ability, and literally 30 seconds from now, my plans could change and it doesn't matter.
This is so cool. You're tripping me
It's
out.
fantastic.
Um, internet, you using Elon Musk's using, what is it,
Yes.
Starlink?
Starlink.
Star.
Starlink
How
is,
is it?
it's
Is it
better
good?
than any other Wi-Fi that I've ever used.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
Serious?
the only, I'm serious.
Huh.
Like even right now I could be using my parents' Wi-Fi, right? I'm not. I have Starlink hooked up
Are we
because
on
it's just
Starlink right now?
so much better. We're on Starlink right now.
Very cool. I've never been on
It works
Starlink.
really great. The
Yeah.
only thing that kind of is annoying about it is it has to be a clear sky. So you kind
Okay.
of have to like drag it out to put it in a clear sky so that you can park in the shade. And I have to park in the shade because
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't put an AC unit in this thing.
What?
My fan just died right now. I'm surprised you can't see me sweating.
Well, I saw you had the post with the minifan.
Yeah, it died. I need to charge it again.
ah.
I know the struggles,
Well, the good
but
news is you're moving into some
okay,
cooler weather, hopefully, relatively soon. So when you make that trek
I am.
across Canada, and you're going to be up north too, so you might be have some cooler weather
Yeah.
going across. What does your day look? You've been posting such wonderful photos of
Yeah.
where you visited and the dog, right?
Yes.
You've got the
I got my
dog,
little doodle. Yep.
right? Yeah,
Yep.
who's delightful, by the way. I'm a big dog fan. I have a little dog too. So,
I
you're
love it.
tugging at Frankie's heartstrings with the doggy. Trust me. I'm like, oh, the dog. But
Yeah.
are you taking the dog with you?
Yeah, of course.
Are you going when you go to
Honestly,
Canada and the whole thing, you can take the dog?
yeah, it gets lonely if I don't have the dog.
That is
Like I
cool.
don't think I could do it without my dog.
That is so cool. Okay. So what's your day? I mean, what's your day look like? You got to work, you got to, check emails and
Yeah.
all that. What's your day like? What's the van life day like for Megan Anderson, who is a
Well,
mortgage,
yeah.
person, speaker, trainer, how does it work?
So you guys know I work East Coast hours. That's, what highway is. And so my day starts off, I got to be camera ready by 6 a.m. So I
Mm,
wake up, I get to watch the sunrise, and I get ready actually looking at the sunrise every morning, which is fantastic. And then I sit down, I come out with the morning update video. I work all day. The nice thing about it though is when you take breaks, I mean, you walk out and you're completely disconnected from
yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
and so it instantly kind of recharges you a lot quicker, I
Mm,
find.
mm,
And then, by 3, it depends on how much work I got to get done. Sometimes we work late, but otherwise you're already in the place where you can go have fun. So going out and going on a 3-mile hike
yeah.
or going out and shooting your gun, like there's no planning involved. You just get out there and do it. And so, it's a lot more time kind of in nature without having to plan and drive and go places. And so you get to have fun. Do I get to have as much fun as I would like to have? Some days I don't want to work. It's so perfect outside, but
Yeah.
we gotta pay for van life somehow. So
Yeah. So, okay. So, all right. So you're doing your work, you're doing your hours, but when you got the moments that you're like, okay, I got some free time here, you're enjoying your environment where you're at,
yes.
that kind of a thing. Let me ask you this. This is just ridiculously stupid things, but I just have to know, like food and things like that. Are you stocked? You got a little kitchen in
Yeah.
there? Or you
I
got a little
have
fridge? What?
I have a little fridge. I decided not to put an oven or anything in here because, I don't know about you, but like I've been on a boat before and in RVs before, and you don't really want to cook inside either of those. Like it just kind of I don't like it. So I have a little propane stove. I have a little pull-out table in the back. That's where I do most of my cooking. Um, I have a pull-out pantry, which is like my favorite cabinet in the van. So that has all my stuff in it, all my dry goods, my coffee, all that kind of stuff. And you just kind of bring enough food to last, 3-4 days, and you're
Just
and you're
then
good.
restock, then just go
Yeah, and then
restock.
you have your staples, right? Like stuff that's going to be good all the time that if you need to, you can have it, like oatmeal or,
Yeah.
pancake mix, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I've never run out of food or been sad that I can't pack more food. So,
When you're traveling from one place to the other and you're going to be spending some nights, are you looking for campgrounds kind of a thing, or like, hey, I'm coming,
no.
or just like wherever, like a Walmart parking lot? What is it? What do you how do you figure that
Um,
out?
well, as of recently, it's been kind of national forest land. I don't
Oh,
like to go to
really?
campgrounds. Yeah, I don't like to go to campgrounds because I find that it's a little claustrophobic for me. It's too
Yeah.
many people all together. You're hearing generators all night. Like
Yeah.
there's a reason that I have 800 watts of solar and I don't need to plug in. I've never
Yeah.
drained my battery. I don't need to plug in. I don't need that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I like to be completely isolated. So wherever I go,
So
I like to be
national
completely isolated.
national forests, national parks, that type of thing. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't mind campgrounds, but if I'm going to go to a campground, I try and go like Sunday evenings when everyone usually has to leave. And then
Mm,
I'll roll
mm,
out on Wednesday because people usually get there Thursday and leave
mm,
Sunday. So I try and I try and avoid those. Now, when I
mm.
first started, I did go to campgrounds because I wasn't as comfortable. But I'm comfortable now. I got everything I need. I got my hatchet, I got my saw,
My
I got my
hatchet,
gun.
my gun, my dog.
I got
You're
my
just like
dog.
you're just speaking to the hearts of so many guys right now. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
I feel safe. I feel good,
that Megan. She's got
So
it going on. I got to ask you this. What about the potty, man? Like you're out there, you don't have that in the van,
I
right?
yeah,
So what are we
I
doing
did not put a
here?
bathroom.
Huh?
Yeah, so that was a worry for me to not put a
Yeah.
bathroom in here, but I knew I wanted a dedicated office space and
Yeah.
there's not enough space in a van. It's a tiny room.
Yeah.
So, you spend more time working than I do in the bathroom,
Yeah.
hopefully.
True. No, of course.
So,
Yeah. Hopefully.
yeah, so I do have a shower, an outdoor shower that I have used.
Okay.
Um, but as far as the toilet goes, and I was worried about this because I have
Yeah.
stomach issues,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah. So essentially, I have a little pop up bucket. You put a biodegradable
Okay.
bag in it
Got
and you
it.
do
So you
your
got one of
business.
those. I got it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
honestly, I prefer that because I was going back and forth between getting like a cassette toilet or the weird ones that compost it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that just I don't want to have to deal with that. I don't want to have to find out where I'm going to empty it. I don't want it sitting in the van for days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the pop-up bucket is nice. You use it when you need it, and honestly, even sometimes when I don't need it, I just prefer it because it's your own secluded space. It just always goes better when you're in your own secluded space. So,
Can I ask you something personal?
yeah.
As if where you go to the bathroom isn't personal enough. Okay.
Yeah,
But is it working? Are you healing?
I am
Are you
healing.
healing?
Oh
Because
my
are you
goodness, I
feeling
am
is it
healing.
working?
All of it is working. I've made some major changes since I've been in the van. I haven't drank in 143 days.
Good for you.
I stopped smoking my stupid little nicotine pen. That's like
Yeah.
333 days or something like that at
Wow.
this point in time. Yeah.
Wow.
And I've lost like 25 pounds.
Wow.
Um yeah, I I'm just a happier person. I feel like I'm like radiating from the inside out.
Tell me, give me something along those lines. Like what is there maybe, and I'm just putting you on the spot, so if nothing comes to mind, it's perfectly fine. But is there anything you can kind of point to, like so far, 42 days in, doing this, and that any realizations, revelations, anything like that, where you could say something I've learned so far is this, whatever that is. And I
There's a
know I'm
lot
putting you
of
on the
things
spot here.
that
Yeah. So,
no, it's good. I do have a blog. You guys can check out my blog where I post a lot of kind of the stuff that just like comes to me. It's I am
perfect.
megananderson.com and you'll
Okay,
see
I
my
am
blog.
megananderson.com. So I'll make sure to get
Yep.
that. Okay, I
Yep.
am megananderson.com. All right, I'll make sure. I don't want to
Yes.
forget that. I don't have
Yes.
my pen, but we'll get
And
it.
there's a few things that I have kind of come to the realization of. One, once I started this journey, it's been really incredible to see the amount of people that have reached out that have said something like you said similar when we came on here that was like, I've always kind of been curious about that lifestyle. I've always kind of wanted to do that, but I haven't done it. And I get that. And I get, oftentimes we're in places in our life where we couldn't do something like this. So, one, I just feel incredibly grateful and blessed. And it's kind of funny because when I started all of this, and I still sometimes go back to it, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm almost in my mid 30s, right? And I am living in a van. Like, what am I doing right now? But then I think about and I hear all of your guys' comments, and I'm like, this is such a gift. And not to mention, like, I'm finding it extremely important to just take ownership of our life.
Mm,
I don't want to be one of those people that, you work your whole life to retire, you retire and then you die. And you
hmm.
don't do any of the things that you said you were going to do or
Yeah.
experience things that you were going to experience. And
Right.
my whole thing with starting this whole van life was one for myself. I wanted to define what my boundaries are. Boundaries can be healthy and good in a way, but then what are the boundaries that also limit me and keep me small?
Mm,
And my goal is through this whole van life journey is to share that, share what I learn about my boundaries, share about pushing myself beyond my boundaries, mostly to kind of, inspire other people to do the same thing. And that's just kind of what this whole thing is. I don't really know what will come of it. I don't really know, but I'm excited and I'm finding out every single day. And stay tuned for some content because I have a list of things that terrify the shit out of me that I will be filming and posting.
I can't wait. So, do you, so I totally get what you're saying. Like the whole purpose of this is I don't know where I'm staying tomorrow. I don't know what I'm just living, right?
I'm
And
just living.
moving.
Yeah.
I'm living and moving. So right now, there's no like, I'm going to do this for this long and then I'm going to get a house over here or any of that. Right now, it's just a clean slate, right? It's just a blank page.
It is. I mean, I have at least dedicated myself to 365 days in the
Okay,
van.
that's right. You said that. Okay, so you're
Yeah.
dedicated to the year. So a year, but after that,
Yeah.
do you have planned out what happens after the 365 days, or is that still
No, I mean, I'm still, even to this day, even the past year, ever since I sold my house in Florida, I have been looking for property to purchase. Not so much for me to stay, but I just, it's a safe investment. It's a good thing to have property. So I've always been looking and I will continue to look. But my hope is that through this journey, I find somewhere where I really want to establish roots, and I don't know where that is yet. Maybe I'll find it on this. Maybe I won't. Maybe this journey is just about accepting the fact that maybe I'm just not that kind of person. Maybe I've always been meant to just explore and travel and have these really strong, intense connections with people, even if they're just short lived.
wow?
And maybe that's it. I don't know.
How
I don't
cool!
know.
This is so cool. This is really cool. I can't thank you enough for doing this. I was so intrigued. My wife and I are watching you on and I
Yeah.
go, you see what she's doing? I'm like, I have to talk to her. I have to just have this conversation. I said, I'm going to podcast this. I really
Mhm.
appreciate you taking the time to do it. I'm intrigued. We're going to follow IamMeganAnderson.com. So that's where we can follow you, and you're going to be posting some really cool stuff coming up. Hey, make me a promise when you come down through California, stop in and see me. Okay. Can we
I
get
will.
together?
Yeah,
Promise?
let's do it. Promise.
All right. We'll let you, we got a warm shower here for you if you need it. Okay.
Yes,
On
I
your way
will.
down. So,
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been a fun episode.
it has been. I kind of don't want to stop immediately. I just want to get one more thing out of you. Just,
Yeah.
and kind of just, kind of along the lines of the last question I asked, but just, parting thoughts for us, you know what I mean, who aren't living the van life, just, and this is being watched by mortgage people, right?
Yeah.
This is all being watched by mortgage people. Anything Meg Anderson wants to say to us before you head out of this podcast? Got
We are
anything?
in an industry where we're constantly stressed, right? We're constantly putting out fires. We're constantly pulled in each direction. We're constantly told, work more, work harder. And on some level, that's true, and we should. But on another level, I just want everyone to remember that it is a choice what mind state you decide to live in. And one thing that I have really learned throughout this van journey is that we have to appreciate the small little moments. Maybe it's the sunset that you got to watch. Maybe it's your morning coffee. Just find those little brief moments where you can truly just be present and appreciate. It's going to recharge us and it's going to keep us in a much better mindset for putting out those fires and going throughout our day.
Wonderful stuff. Megan Anderson, thank you, Megan, for being here. Super appreciate it. Best to you on your journey. I'll be watching closely. Yeah, just keep us posted, man. It's exciting. It's fun. I know you've got a lot of people following you right now going, this is crazy and awesome. And I can't look away. I have to tune in to what's going on. And what's the dog's name?
Snoop.
Snoop. Well, give Snoop a big fat hug and a kiss for me because that's an adorable pooch.
He it will soon have his own well, he already has it, but there's going to be more content posted on it. Finding Snoop Dogg. I got him a little harness for a GoPro, so it's going to be van life from his perspective.
Nice. That'll be very, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, Megan Anderson, thanks so much, man. Super appreciate it. We'll tune back in again, I hope. Maybe we'll do another one of these maybe in a couple of months or something to kind of catch up with you again. Or maybe if you come down and you swing through California and you swing through my neck of the woods, because you're going to go down 80 if you're heading this out. You're going right through my town. Let's get together and do another podcast, maybe from the van together or something. Something like that would be really cool.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. Good stuff. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Megan. I really appreciate it. For the rest of you guys that tuned in, man, thanks for joining us here on the Mortgage Loan Officer Podcast. Come back again and again and again. We're brought to you by the Mortgage Marketing Animals, and we'll catch you guys later. See you next time. Meg, don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys later. Adios. Bye-bye.